and welcome everybody to another Formula 2 race. I believe it's round 8. We're in Singapore today, and we're throwing in a bit of a treat here for you, because talking to you are still Eversnaxalal and Boosted Mess, but we're not in the commentary booth, as you might see. And in fact, I'm loading a setup right now.
So yeah, we had a bit of a few empty slots this week, so we've been drafted into race this week. So this could go very well or very wrong. We're about to find out.
Right, let me actually check the weather. It's gonna be dry for the full race, at least in the feature race, I believe. And in the sprint race, we might see some rain towards the end, but probably not. I think the race is not gonna last that long. But yeah, there could be rain towards the end of the sprint race, possibly.
Hopefully there is no rain, but otherwise we're not going to last very long at all. But yeah, we'll we'll see how this goes.
Right. For now, we're getting ready to load into this, the one-shot qualifying. We only have one lap, and it's got to count. And I think neither of us did too much practice, so it's going to be very interesting to see if we can get anywhere on the grid right now.
Yeah, I think the last time I drove these cars was maybe just out of interest. I don't know, about maybe 6-7 months ago, something like that.
Oh, I think
it was literally just time trial.
I told you I haven't driven them, but I've actually tried them around Abu Dhabi the last time we went to Abu Dhabi, so it must have been the last season, but I have driven these cars before.
So we're running on setups that we've literally just pinched from other drivers for this as well.
I think everybody does that. I've heard before that some of the drivers are saying that they just take somebody else's setup because they don't want to put too much time into it. Oh, that was almost invalidated right there. It is a street track, but it's still kind of easy to invalidate if you run just a bit too wide here.
They're very tail happy, these cars, aren't they? I find the back overtook me immediately in the first corner and nearly did the same again there. That was close.
I'm going a bit careful here, so probably not the fastest time. But in exchange for that, I'm actually not. I was saying I was about to say I'm not getting too much wheel spin, just as I got too much wheel spin, and almost spinning here into the hairpin, but just saving it and keeping the car going for now.
Are we supposed to be adjusting brake biases whilst we're driving?
I'm not sure. I think you'd have to ask the wonderful championship leader if that's the plan in these cars.
I've already taken my wing off.
Okay, that's a bit early. I've actually managed to keep my car in one piece for now. And I hope so has everybody else. I think I haven't seen anybody retire during the session yet, so looking pretty good for the qualifying for now. I think Paul should be around it for 49 something.
Oh, okay, oh, yeah, there we go. Whoever's in Paul's already crossed the line.
And there we go, it's a 52.7 for Eversnaxalotl. I think that's still not going to be too far up the grid.
Let's see, I'm just rounding the last bend now.
Oh, as we see Bailey Thompson hitting a wall! He just drove straight into a wall there, but I think it wasn't the best lap in the first place.
I suspect this will be a last to first for me.
Yes, I'm expecting everything from your race, and I'm just gonna chill in P10, being overtaken by Bailey in the first turn, I'd assume. So yeah, everybody like, qualifying on the Super Softs.
A Zykan in Paul. That's
yeah, and he managed to beat Pretorius there. Yeah, Pretorius just ever so slightly behind. Zykan, the only one breaking into the 49s here. So pretty close qualifying out in front. Actually, Larson is also looking pretty good in that Prema.
Yeah, top four are all really close to each other.
Then a bit of a gap to the guys behind. Yeah, well. And then there's another gap to Danny and Joel. Something must have happened to Joel because he's usually a lot quicker than that. Yeah, in fact, I almost beat him.
Recently.
Yeah, I think that's not quite the pace he has in this race. I think he can go a lot quicker in the race, and we should. Well, we would probably not see him move up the order because I doubt I'll be able to follow him through the field, but I'm sure he's going to gain some positions during the race as well.
So race strategy. Fuel is locked. Okay, that's interesting. Did not know that.
Right. I believe we do want to do a one-stop, just as everybody will.
I mean, I guess I'll just go with what we've got here. And,
yeah, I think that's the best choice here for us. Can't really change much of the setup either. I think it's just gonna go right into the race.
Yep. What is your brake bias, out of curiosity?
Oh, my brake bias. I'm at, I think, 51.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah,
wait.
this is-
I'm not sure actually. You can check on stream. Oh, so we don't want to have... We have to be running at 8,500 RPM, unlike the F1 cars, where you want to run at around 11,000.
Make sure to warm up the tyres and brakes. Warm the tyres and
we
brakes throughout the lap.
make our way around now on the hardest lap of the race, the formation lap.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot before, and we're seeing it here from Danny right in front of me. It's really easy to spin on the formation lap for some reason. I think the cold tires make a lot of a difference here.
Oh, and
So
Darryl
that might
G
be-
spun out as well, just on the first corner there.
Yeah, I think the cold tires tend to catch out drivers a lot on these F2 cars. They, as you said, they can be quite tail happy. So yeah, you got to be really careful even in the formation lap.
No threat of rain for the
Oh,
time
Bailey
being.
Thompson is
Conditions
overtaking you.
looking good.
Yep, he's just taking back his position. I think he must have had a bit of a mishap off the start line there. He kind of just bogged down, I think, as we set off.
He's now diving to my inside, which I find not very nice. But well, it is the formation lap, and everybody's just trying to warm up the tires.
Yeah, a new perspective today for the viewers. Probably.
Yeah, I think this
not
might
gonna
actually
get
be
very
a
often.
perspective that some of you don't get to see as much, because usually you're the one racing. So yeah, maybe a bit of a change here. I do tend to run in cockpit cam quite a lot when I commentate as well, so maybe not that much of a change. But yeah, we'll have to see how many overtakes we're gonna see from this perspective today.
Or how many overtakes on us we're gonna see.
I mean, I think we're still gonna see some good overtakes, especially with the quick guys like Joel and Bailey at the back of the field. I'm especially expecting Joel to take some positions in the first few laps, so maybe we'll be able to observe that before I drop back into Oblivion.
Around the final couple of bends now. Looking at the mini-map, it looks like the front runners are already lining up on the grid, so a relatively quick formation lap from them.
And we do have a lot of people running on the soft tires for the race start actually, so Joel, Danny in front of me are both running on the soft tires, so is Bailey Thompson ahead of you. So a bit of a mix of strategies, I'd assume. I'm not seeing the tires that the front runners are using, but I am sure that at
The
least
rest
some
of
of
the
them
grid is
would be
forming
running
up.
the
Be
super soft
patient
tires.
and watch for the lights.
Yep. But as we begin to line up then, here we go.
And we're ready for the race start.
Here we go then. Oh, we can see the lights perfectly this time too. 5 lights are on, everybody's revving, we're ready to go, and it's go on the second last race now here in Singapore.
Oh, and we're gaining on Danny and Joel. Very good getaway from us. We're actually side by side here into turn 1. But of course, very dangerous to go too much side by side here, and it's really easy to get caught up in an incident here. We want to keep it very clean through this section. We have Danny still next to us. Joel ahead, did not manage to get past anybody, but Bailey definitely managed to gain quite a few positions at the race start there. Bit of a wobble there, bit of wheel spin, bit dangerous to go onto the throttle too hard. But yeah, we're down to P11 and watching Danny now.
And 3 wide here now into this corner, and Darryl
yeah.
spun around.
Oh, and there's also somebody else out ahead spinning. I didn't see who that was. Somebody just spun around. Yeah, there was, I think, about 5 cars tangling with each other.
Yeah.
All of them trying to gain the upper hand here. Pemi, Futuristic, Joel and Danny are still fighting for that position. But yeah, somebody didn't quite make it to the end of that battle.
But it's not terrible. Stay focused.
No ERS in these cars, of course, so all about keeping in that DRS train.
Absolutely, and we're seeing a very big DRS train forming here. Some different lines being taken here through the hairpin. I think it's due to the traffic in part. They have to be very careful to not just run into the back of another driver. So they're taking a bit of a wider line here.
Yeah, definitely. So keeping pace here just about with the pack. Everybody looks like they've got a fairly clean start. So we saw quite a few guys sort of 3 and 4 wide into the first couple of corners, but no major contact. So
Yeah, especially given how it's Singapore, I was very surprised to see
Yeah.
about 5 cars going side by side and no not too much contact. One of them spun, of course. I'm not exactly sure if that was down to some contact or not, but it was looking rather clean, I'd say.
So,
And Pretorius
looks
sets the
got the
fastest
lead.
lap. Yeah, seems like he's got the race lead, and he's going to be very happy about that.
Larson already picking up a penalty as well. He's got 3 seconds that will be added to his time at the end of this race.
So Larson must have been the one who spun out then, because I think it's Daro in last position currently. By the way, we do also have some other drivers, I think, hopping into these F2 cars pretty spontaneously. So I'm not exactly sure who they are, but there's definitely some drivers here that aren't as used to these cars, just like we aren't.
Yep.
So we can't expect the maximum performance from every driver here today. Some of them are just putting in an amazing effort by just racing, just getting around the track without locking up like I just did there.
That's good news for me then. It's desperately trying to catch back up with you guys.
Yes, and we do see you gaining about 6/10. I think I'm not in the DRS train either though, so maybe not too much gain from that. I'm actually thinking, has Danny done any of the F2 races?
Oh, and Larson's diving down the inside of me now onto his back DRS straight. Sorry to cut you up there.
Yeah,
he's going to make the move stick as I spin into the wall and damage my wing.
Oh, yeah, that's not too helpful, I'd say, for your race. But you might still be able to have some battles with Doro. I think he had some issues at the race start.
Yeah.
As I am now starting to struggle, I think the tires are starting to wear just a bit. And out of the hairpin, I was just getting a lot of wheel spin. Almost spun the car around, but just kept it on track for now, at least. Yeah, as I was saying, I think Danny's one of these drivers who don't usually drive F2, so pretty good effort from him here to keep pace with Joel. Joel has been one of the quicker drivers in F2 lately. And I'm seeing a yellow flag, I think it's in Sector 1, and it's Bailey Thompson!
Yeah, it's Bailey.
Bailey Thompson has spun around into the wall, into the pit wall, and oh, it's not looking too good for him, I'd say. Is he still racing?
He does seem to be getting back underway again. It's I'm unsure whether he's got damage or anything at all, but
it looked like he did. He was really just stuck into the pit wall there.
Yeah,
I'd be very surprised if he didn't have any damage from that, but he's already catching up to me now, so yeah, maybe. Oh, actually, he's just let Daro pass. I'm not sure. He must have quite some damage done, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so too. So as I come back out the pit, I've got a funny feeling I may have fallen into the pit rule trap. Technically, it's lap 3 as I cross the line here, but we'll find out.
Oh,
if I'm
yeah,
at the end of this race.
I think you might have to do another pit stop. So
a last lap pit, then I think.
It's a super soft for you. Then I think.
Yep.
You might want to pit after probably 14 laps. Well, in lap 14, so you can still make use of some very fresh super soft at the end of the race.
Yeah. I shall queue those up and give them a go.
Oh, by the way, Danny in front of us has also gotten a 3-second time penalty now, and Joel is trying to overtake Futuristic. We're seeing some position switch here. Oh, safety car has been deployed. Full safety car. Bailey's out.
And unfortunately, I think my game might crash. Now that could be interesting.
That's well. That's.
I'm going to try and rejoin them, guys.
Interesting. The question is, if I pit now after lap 3, does it count?
Yes, because it is after. Well, no. If you're under safety car, I think you. Yeah, I don't think it'll work, will it?
I mean, there's a lot of people pitting ahead of me, so I think I'm gonna pit now.
Do you think you can quickly fire me an invite whilst you're in the pit?
Sure. I'll go right ahead. Invite friends. Ah, boosted message, my friend. I'll just invite him.
Excellent.
There you go.
Thank you.
Oh, and just as I add into my pit slot, and I'm getting ready to get going again. Oh, the pit stops take very long in these F2 cars. I've never really realized that. We do see it on stream as well. I've gotten past Futuristic as well. Futuristic has gotten a wing change there, I believe. And so Futuristic and Larson double stack in. That's not going to be too good for him.
I think they do the pits. They do front tires and then back tires or something separate. I don't know. Maybe it's because I had wing damage as well, but it certainly felt like that's what was going on.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so.
It's a significantly reduced pit crew that you see there as well.
By the way, something I actually never knew is that you can't change the fuel mode you're in. I've been commentating this tier for a while now, and I've never realized that you not only don't have the ERS, you also don't have the fuel levels to take advantage of when you're trying to overtake somebody. So it really is only DRS that you have to rely on, and other than that, it's going to be really hard to make an overtake happen, I think.
So that's me back in game now. My AI has done a wonderful job of catching me up with some of the drivers here, Darrow and Futuristic.
Oh, does that mean you're past Larson now?
No, sorry, it's Larson and Darrow actually up ahead of me.
Ah, right, okay, because Larson did get held for quite a bit at the pits. He was waiting for Futuristic to change the wing out ahead, and that cost both of them quite a bit of time.
The interesting thing with Singapore, with it being such a long track, I don't think we're going to notice this too much in the dry weather conditions, but certainly in the wet, it's incredibly difficult to catch up with a safety car when there is one. So you find that the guys that are lagging at the back, trying to, you know, get caught back up with the rest of the grid, will struggle a lot. And a lot of the times, again, more so in F1 perhaps, but certainly in the wet race that we had in one of the tiers when we raced in Singapore, it was a real issue, and the guys at the back were just constantly, you know, stuck with a gap between there. They couldn't close the gap.
Huh. I mean, it is a very, very long lap here in these F2 cars. It takes almost 2 minutes for a race lap, maybe a bit less if you're a good driver.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does take quite a long time to get around this track, and in the wet it's going to take a lot longer even. The F2 cars already struggle on the traction sometimes, and it's even worse in the rain. So yeah, quite a long lap. We might still see this by the end of the sprint race.
Yeah, definitely.
As we're now watching the tire temperatures, they're looking pretty good. I think the F2 cars want the tires slightly colder than the F1 cars, just judging by what I'm seeing currently shown as green. So
we see Bailey's actually retired, so he must have come into the pits then after that incident on the start-finish line.
I believe that's actually the cause for the safety car. I think.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
he must have crashed later on then, did he?
I believe so. Yeah, I think he's just pushed a bit too much with a broken wing and probably went into a wall, understeered too much. I didn't see it happen, but yeah, that's what I'd assume would be the thing that happened, because the safety car did come out right after it said he retired.
Yeah, so unfortunate there for Bailey then.
Yeah, he is really quick in these cars if he gets it right, but he does sometimes have these incidents where he just spins, even from the race lead sometimes. So yeah, in these F2 races, it's often very important to just keep it clean, keep it on track, and you're already on track for points. I think we've seen some drivers say that before. It's quite easy to get points if you just keep it clean and if you don't break your wings too often. Even if you do break your wing, you can sometimes just keep going and see how it goes.
The question is, will the safety car come in with this lap?
That is indeed a good question. You guys are still a bit behind.
Yep, something that I deliberately didn't mention, but I feel like I'm going to have to, is that I managed to spin again and I've had to have a second wing change.
Oh yeah, I was wondering why you were that far behind. I just saw the what's it called? I think Univirtuosi of Darrow actually catching up quite a bit, and then Larson behind. Those two guys have been catching up a lot, but they were still quite a bit behind. And then I was watching a bit further down the track, and there I saw you.
I must say, these cars are surprisingly fun to drive. They take a little bit to get to grips with, but they flow very nicely, especially around this track. I think it's maybe because it's such a tight and twisty track. You kind of are forced to go a bit slower, and then with these cars being slower anyway in general, it kind of makes the track feel faster than it would be if you're in an F1 car. So in an F1 car, for example, you're braking a lot and accelerating a lot, and then braking and accelerating, where in the F2 cars, when being generally speaking a little slower, you can kind of weave the corners together a bit nicer. It feels like it flows more.
Absolutely, I do agree that you get a lot more of a flow on these city tracks than if you're driving them on the F1 cars. The F2 cars, of course, just not going as quickly through the corners anyway, so you don't have to be careful about slowing down as much.
Yeah.
And I do really like the understeer on these cars. I've always really liked understeery cars, and I'm quite enjoying this. As long as you lean on the understeer and really use all of the track that you have available, it's actually not too bad with the wheel spin out of the corners, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a totally different style of driving, isn't it?
It is. I kind of like it. It actually reminds me a bit of driving without traction control, but it wouldn't be like that for you because you always drive without traction control.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not going to neglect to mention this. I am running assists, some of them at the very least. So, yeah, sorry for that. If anybody's watching,
I mean,
Okay, let's
I
get
feel
ready
like
to
now
go
I
racing again.
probably should have had assists running.
When the field accelerates, remember, there is no overtaking until the green flags.
yeah, just that
car
little
coming
bit of
out.
traction control to make sure. We do have the safety car coming in, and everybody's lining up to restart the race here. The safety car has already pulled away from the race leader, who is... I'm actually not sure. Is it still Pretorius, or has Icewind taken the lead, probably? No, Icewind is in P5.
No. Yeah,
Wait,
I
who's
think,
Icewind's teammate again? Is it McKender?
Yes, it is. It's Icewind and McKender, and then we have Pretorius and Joel racing together. They're usually the front four, and it looks like actually they're the front four again today as well.
No, Icewind and McKender are in P4 and 5.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm not sure what happened there, because Pretorius did take the race lead at the start, I think. So something must have happened there, at some point at least. As we get underway again, it's a pretty early start, and I'm not really prepared to start the race again, so Futuristic is already alongside, trying to make an overtake here. I'm gonna keep my line for here, just not giving that position up too easily, wiggling around a bit, but I think Futuristic will be able to get past me pretty soon. I'm still seeing Ezekiel, by the way, in P6 after he had the pole. So I'm not exactly sure who's out in front right now. I think Joel has managed to get quite some positions back.
It's impressive because Joel actually started quite far down the order, if I remember right. So midfield, mid to back of the...
yeah, and he actually didn't gain too many positions at the race start either. I saw him still stuck with... Oh god, and now I'm seeing what the people are talking about. You get some real luck on these cars if you're not careful. Apparently I did have contact with Futuristic. I hope he didn't get too much damage from that. So yeah,
we
on
might
the...
see a commentator being reported for the first time.
That might actually be the first time. That might in fact be the first time that a commentator gets reported, but yeah, so it's on the F1 cars it's virtually impossible to lock the rear tires in this game. In the F2 cars it's definitely not impossible. It's actually quite easy to do. Yeah, because you're not used to it anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, and now we're seeing the toe in action. So slipstream seems to be pretty strong on these F2 cars always, which it has to be because otherwise overtakes are going to be really hard. But also some dirty air here from the back of Daro.
It's so easy to lock the rears. It's yeah, it's caught me out a few times actually now.
Oh really? I've only done it once now, and I was very surprised.
Unless it's the brake bias. What's your setting on now?
Wait, I'll check it in just a second. I gotta be overtaking Daro right now. It's 51.
51, okay.
Oh, we're getting a lot more speed out of this corner, but we have to back out of it in order to avoid a collision. That could have almost been a move. I am pulling alongside, so maybe a bit of a better setup for the straights. We're still alongside, side by side through these turns, through this chicane, and out of turn 3, I believe. It seems that I've taken this position for now, but we're 5.4 seconds behind the next driver now, who is Futuristic, who may or may not have some minor damage from their contact earlier. Yeah, I just spun around, and I think he must have gone into the side of me. Would have been very hard to avoid there.
Yeah. They are a little bit forgiving though, I find, these cars. I did spin earlier on, just lightly tapped the wall. I'd have expected to have seen at least an orange wing from that, but nothing at all, which is interesting.
Yeah, same. I've actually also touched the wall and haven't got any damage, so yeah, quite forgiving. Maybe that's why we see drivers just running without an end plate, but still having the rest of their wing so often when we commentate. Because it is something that happens quite often, that somebody just loses an end plate and keeps going. Oh, and I've done it again.
not the last race, but the race before, we saw a lot of guys running with wing damage and just hanging in there.
Yellow flag.
Oh, somebody else has gone off ahead of me. I think it's Larson who's gone off the track for a bit of an excursion. He of course has a 3-second time penalty as well that is going to be added to his time at the end of the race.
Engine braking seems to be a thing on these F2 cars as well.
Oh really? Does that mean that lifting and coasting might actually do something?
I just find that, yeah, definitely seems to slow me a bit more coming into the corners.
Talking about lifting and coasting, I don't think that's something I'd want to be doing because I still have a huge surplus of fuel right now. I'd love to use up some of that, but yeah, no engine modes on these cars.
I think we're going to see in the next F1 season as well. We're not going to be able to switch fuel maps anymore.
Yeah, so maybe some good practice to jump into the F2 cars right now and get used to racing without the fuel settings. Well, now that we've talked about it, it does happen quite often to lock the rears here. I think more often on the soft tires actually. On the super softs I was doing fine. On these softs I've been locking up the rears a lot more.
Yeah.
I think I might actually put the brake bias on 52 instead.
Yeah, I nudged mine up a little bit as well. I still seem to be struggling with the very first corner, but I kind of have somewhat of a handle on the rest of the track now.
On the very first one?
Yep, the very first one, but it's me missing my braking point.
Alright, that's fair enough. Well, yeah, that's one of the advantages I have from using the assists, of course. With the racing line, it's not very easy to miss a braking point by too much. And I don't have to be as used to these cars either.
Worth mentioning just how close the grid still is, or certainly the front pack. Everybody's really, really close to one another.
Yeah, I think it's mostly just, well, after the safety car, it's even the guys who have had some issues before, still running pretty close within just a few seconds here. Even me just 5 seconds off Danny right now. So yeah, not too many big gaps forming out in front. The race leader, who I assume would be McKender still, is pulling away a bit, but then behind that, it's running very, very close right now.
Yeah, it's looking like we've got a breakaway there from McKender. He's got quite a sizable gap to, that's either going to be Joel or Victorious there.
I believe it's probably Joel, given how I've seen Victorious a bit further down the order earlier, and he would be battling the other guys, I'd say. Probably Icewind is battling him for position right now.
And
so he won't
as
be,
well.
Yeah, so those guys won't be having it too easy to pull away right now. They're losing a bit of time because they're fighting each other.
The race seems to have settled down a little bit at the front. Just kind of making our way around now. Trying to keep an eye on that small tight gaggle that's just coming down to the DRS straight.
Oh, and there's a yellow flag. I think that's Daro off.
Yep, Darrow looks like he's had
yellow car.
A bit of a spin, but it looks like he's underway very quickly again, so I don't think that's anything too major.
So of course we're still running, how many cars are we running? Still 12 cars, after Bailey has retired at just a few laps after the start of the race and caused a safety car in the process. If I keep wheel spinning like that, we might be down to 11 soon.
I have just cheated and quickly whacked on a few assists.
That's fair enough, I guess.
So let's see if this helps. I'm going to consider this a little bit of practice for the sprint race. Maybe.
I mean, we're gonna be in a pretty good position for the. Well, maybe not, but we might be in an acceptable position for the sprint race. Oh, actually, by the way, the guys who did start on the soft tires on the harder compound for this race, they're gonna have to pit soon because they weren't able to pit under the safety car. I'm still not sure if.
Indeed, Danny is. Danny is pitting.
Yeah, so Danny in the pits with a 6-second time penalty currently. I think he decided to pit because he was just about to fight Larson for position, and he decided that pitting right now would be the best option instead of wasting time by fighting for position.
Yeah.
So yeah, gonna be very interesting to see which tires the front guy started on, because whoever started on a soft compound might still have to pit in the next few laps.
So Danny now leaving the pits on a fresh set of super softs. Be interesting to see what kind of times he can pump in with those. We might see a few fastest laps coming up.
Yeah, hopefully they're not too quick, because I'm actually kind of scared of him getting past me again. But yeah, the pit stops do make a very big difference in these F2 cars, because you lose a lot of time. So yeah, Danny and the other guys who are going to be going for the super soft in the next few laps, they're going to be losing a bit of time here for sure. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they come out after the pit stop. I'm still not 100% sure that the safety car pit stops were, let's say, legal, whether they're going to count by the end of the race. Because you can't...
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say there, thankfully, thankfully or not thankfully, after nudging my wing again and having to get the second wing changed, it would have meant I would have pitted after that 3-lap window, so I should hopefully be in the clear. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the other guys have managed to stay clear of that rule.
We're seeing McKenna and Joel now in the pits, so those two guys are also going to be dropping back. McKenna, by the way, 6 seconds of penalties. That's going to hurt his chances for the race win, I think. Because I don't think he had 6 seconds on either Joel or Pretorius at the in that lead group. So McKenna might not be heading for the race win, actually. And especially after the pit stop.
Joel leaving the pits now on a fresh set of super softs as well. And I'm going to assume that would have been McKenna.
Yeah, McKenna has pitted.
Well, yeah.
So McKenna is ahead of Joel right now. About 9 seconds between. Was 6 seconds
Pretorius in
between
the lead now then, I guess. Pretorius in the lead, Icewind must be in second, and that puts a Zykin in third. Is that right? Yes.
Yes, it looks like Azakin is trying to fight for position though, so we might have a battle on hand between Icewind and Azakin for what is currently second position. I gotta say, by the way, I'm very impressed by your ability to look at the race map and actually tell which cars are where while you're driving, especially in a car that you're not too used to, because I'm really struggling.
It is really hard work, but but it's
well,
funny,
you heard the man. You heard the man. You better compliment him after we're done commentating here, because it's a really hard job. As I get my second warning, so we might still be heading towards the penalty as well.
I think the reason I've maybe had a bit more time to look at the map is because I haven't actually had anyone around me for the last couple of laps.
Well, me either, but...
having said that, I do seem to have just caught up with Daryl somehow. I believe he had a pit stop. He's on super softs now, so I'd expect him to probably pull away from me now for the rest of the race. Of course, there's no point me pitting again now. I'm on a set of softs, which I'm hoping will make it to the end. It's worth noting that neither myself or Everslax have had any real practice at all, as you can probably tell.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how long the tires are going to last, especially. I'm not sure how bad it gets as soon as we drop off some kind of cliff here. Because I am going towards...
now
well, I'm on
30. So.
I'm on 39, so I think you might be fine. But yeah, it's going to be a struggle for me. And Danny is setting fastest laps, like you said earlier.
Yep.
Oh, but it's just something I want to mention right now. I'm in P7 currently, which means looking pretty good for a position at the sprint race start, because of course the reverse grid for positions 1 through 8, and then everybody behind starts in their finishing position at the feature race.
Yep. Danny up to, I don't know where he was before, but he's up to 9 seconds of time penalty now.
Okay, so yeah, that would make it easier to set a fastest lap, of course, but we'll see how much difference these time penalties will be making at the end of the race.
Yep.
McKenna, by the way, catching me by about 2.5 seconds a lap, I'd say, so he's going to be on my back pretty soon. But also 6 seconds of time penalty currently. And you can also see Larson's 3-second time penalty.
Would running full traction control mean I can bury the throttle safely?
I'm not sure if it's safely.
Okay.
But no, I remember, I distinctly remember being able to spin before, before I actually started league racing. I used to run full traction control. And actually my first few league races as well. So it is still possible to spin. I think mostly if you're on the curbs. I'm not sure if it's safe to accelerate off the curbs though.
Just trying to figure out what sort of assists I should be getting myself comfortable with for the sprint race. Consider this a practice session to a degree.
We do have McKender setting the fastest lap behind me now. He's going very quickly around the track. As you can see from the gap closing. Well. Yeah, the fresh super softs are going to be very quick right now. You can definitely tell that he's pushing a lot as well. He's trying to get those positions back after he had to do a pit stop. Which, of course, he lost a lot of time because of this. Alright, I can't talk anymore. Yeah, what I was trying to say is that he lost a lot of time because he wasn't able to pit under the safety car. Unlike some other drivers here, including me. But yeah, he's very able to just catch up to me now. Probably overtake soon.
As Danny picks up another time penalty, closely followed by myself, so Danny now up to 12 seconds, and I shall be awarded with 3 points, or 3 seconds of time penalty at the end of this race.
It is only 3.5 laps, well 3 laps for the race leaders now, left of this race. So, well, not quite yet, but they're almost at the start-finish line now, and it's gonna be 3 laps left. So, not a lot of things are gonna be changing anymore, I think. Unless somebody else is still missing a pit stop. So yeah, McKender and Joel, those guys are definitely, they got very unlucky there with the tire strategy. It could have worked out without the safety car. With a late safety car, actually, it would have worked out very well. But the way it happened, it's just not meant to happen for them, I guess. As we do now have McKendra on our back with the DRS assistance, so it's going to be very hard to keep him behind. He's a very quick driver. He's shown his pace before and his overtaken skills as well. So I'm very much assuming him to get past now that I've gotten so much wheel spin there out of the first section. And he is side by side with us. I'm not going to be defending that position too hard because McKendra is fighting for the championship, especially the team's championship. So yeah, I'm not going to hold him up too much there.
Yeah, we should make sure we don't take any of the drivers out. Of course, we should be considering ourselves more as cameramen, I guess, for the day in amongst all the action.
About cameramen, here's a cameraman catching all the action with Futuristic spinning into a wall. So Futuristic might have some wing damage from that. He was definitely looking directly at that wall, which usually isn't too good for your car.
Unfortunate for him then, he was actually having a really good race today as well. He was right up at the front there with the quick guys. He's another driver actually that seems to have improved quite a bit as the F2 Championship's gone on.
Absolutely, yeah. He's definitely found quite some pace, and he's been fighting some of the top guys for a while. So yeah, really good effort from him. I believe we are starting to see the soft tires drop off now at 51%. You can see me starting to almost spin my car in every other turn, and definitely not able to keep pace with McKender here, but McKender of course on pretty fresh super soft tires still. He would be expected to pull away from me, but yeah, just gonna try to hang on to him. Maybe stay within 6 seconds, but I doubt it.
Tricky feet enough as it is on the in the F1 cars, even harder in these F2 cars, the way they sort of squirm around a lot more.
Futuristic, by the way, has lost a lot of time to Joel here, so I do believe he's carrying wing damage now. Yep, maybe quite some damage even.
Dropped down to 9th position now. I think he's still quite a bit ahead of Danny. Danny would be the next guy to catch up with him, but of course Danny carrying 12 seconds of time penalty as well, so Futuristic should be able to hang on to that position now. I'd expect that if he is carrying damage, he'll probably just run it to the end of the race now. It's absolutely not worth pitting on the final lap almost. So
Yeah, he has already decided not to pit last lap, so yeah, I'd expect him to keep that wing damage till the end of the race here. Oh, as I pick up a 3-second penalty, that's gonna hurt a lot because Joel is gonna get past me. Oh, and I'm gonna be on pole for this. Yeah, I think I might actually be on pole for the sprint race now. I'm not exactly sure if that's what I wanted to happen, but it is happening. So you will actually be seeing some action in the sprint race now.
Which is good. It means we're going to be in a good position to get a full view of the grid between us.
Yeah, that's true. You can check what's happening at the back, and I will just scream loudly as everybody's overtaken me.
See, Danny now up to 15 seconds of time penalty, so pushing very hard with those softs.
I do think he's one of the drivers who's not really used to these cars. So
yeah.
Yeah, very much hard to keep the lines, I think, if you're not used to the cars, because you do have to brake quite a bit earlier on the F2 cars.
Looks
and
like
if you don't,
Darrow's had an incident as well in the first corner.
Yeah, I did see some yellow flags there, so maybe Darrow around again.
But again, like Danny, as you were saying, that one of the I think one of the newer drivers in F2 doesn't normally race in F2. Come in just to give it a shot, try it out, see what he thinks.
We do now have the final lap of the race, and we do also have Joel within a second behind me, so gonna be an interesting end to this race. We're gonna try to keep this position on track, of course, as any good driver would, but yeah, we'll have to see if it actually happens. I'm not too convinced, because Joel does have a lot of pace. He's found so much pace since the start of the season, I think. But yeah, we'll see. It's still 6 tenths between us.
So who's leading? Do you know who's leading?
I cannot check the map right now because I'm defending from one of the championship contenders.
It is either Pretorius or Joel.
It is not Joel because Joel is right behind me, and I don't think I'm in the race lead.
Then. Pretorius, who's leading the race now, coming up to the back markers now to lap them.
Yeah, so he's actually managed to. He's actually managed to get back into the race then. He was quite a few positions down from the race start, but yeah, it looks like he managed to pull it back.
Desperately trying to stay ahead of him just so I can have one more lap as I'm fighting with Darrow now. Blue flags are being waved. I'm going to politely
Joel
decline,
is trying to go around my outside
go.
now, and I think he made it stick because I'm spinning and spinning and not quite able to get the power down here. So Joel does take the position on track, and he's up into P7. On track as well.
This will be Pretorius crossing the line now.
It is. Pretorius has taken the race win, and we're gonna have to see the other positions in just a second. I think Azaken was able to catch Icewind and take second place on track, but there might still be time penalties involved, of course.
Right, a fierce battle for the last running position at the minute going on between myself and Darrow. There's only half a second between us. He's running on super softs at the minute, which I'm going to guess is starting to wear down a wee bit as he's been losing a little bit of time. Of course, the great news for me is that he's just as inexperienced with these F2 cars as I am, so yeah, it's like watching two novice go-kart drivers having their first attempt.
Right, so for the race results, we do have Pretorius taking the race victory out of Azaken and Icewind in the podium positions. Behind them we have Penny pretty close in 4th position, and then Larson with a bit of a gap. McKendra and Joel, the two guys who have overtaken me in P6 and 7, and well, myself in P8 with Futuristic. And currently Danny behind. I think there's enough of a gap between Danny and Darrow that even the 15 seconds of penalties might not matter in the end there. But we'll have to see at the end of the race.
Yep.
And it's another 5-second penalty actually for Danny.
I think everybody now over the line. We're just waiting for the guys at the back of the grid to finish this race.
Yeah, I think they should really get a move on without taking any penalties, of course.
They do seem to be. They are currently look like they're doing their best. They are pushing very hard. It's quite a battle.
Alright, let's take a quick look at chat actually. Derhammer says very special commentary. We won't be hearing any German curse words. I think I can promise that. No German cursing. And some idiot says, I like the in-car commentary. Well, we're glad to provide it.
Well, maybe we can make this a regular feature from time to time.
Yeah, we'll just do it. We'll just do this in every F2 race now. It's sounds like fun. I mean, we did say we like these F2 cars, and we also have Viskin saying hello and got you, by which he probably means the German curse words.
So yeah, looks like we had a really good start there. So Pemi actually had a very good race starting.
Yeah,
in seventh
Pemi
position,
going
managed to get up
into
to fourth.
Yeah, Pemi going into fourth. Oh yeah, we actually have to look at who had some good races because we're still gonna have to award a driver of the day. Zaken
sure
very
we can do
closely behind Pretorius here. Yeah, well, we haven't seen quite the whole race, but yeah, Zaken losing that position to Pretorius over the course of the race. I think that was while they were battling in that group for a while after the safety car restart. And
both commentators looking like they had a fairly acceptable race as well, so managing to finish higher than where they started on the grid. So
yeah, that's true. Absolutely, you have gained one position from the race start, and me, of course, getting lucky with the strategy and futuristic spinning ahead of me. That also did help quite a bit. So we're gonna have the starting grid for the sprint race now. Everest Axolotl starting from P1 ahead of Joel, McHenry. Those two some really quick guys that I'm very afraid of. Larson, Pemi, Icewind, Zaken, and Pretorius starting from P8.
yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of chaos possibly going into the first couple of corners as we see the faster guys who are going to be starting midfield trying to make their way back towards the front of the grid. Of course, the guys at the front will be defending like daft to avoid making that happen.
Well, I'm probably not going to be defending quite as hard as another driver would be, because I'm still going to have to be commentating at the same time, which is going to be mildly stressful, I'd say. So apparently it's...
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Apparently it's no pit stops for this race, so yeah, looking like we can keep the softs on for the whole race.
Oh right, so we should be starting on soft.
Yes, and there is still the chance for rain at the end of the race, so we definitely want to be keeping the soft tires on until the rain possibly starts. And if it doesn't, then we just keep them.
Yeah, I guess the strategy is just going to be a case of trying to make these tires last as best as possible and just try and get towards that point where the rain does come.
I think I'm going to be...
grey.
Yeah, it is very cloudy right now. I think it was saying that it would be cloudy and then it would clear up slightly before possibly starting to rain towards the end of the race. We do only have a few laps here. I'm not sure how many laps, but I think it's 12 possibly? I think I saw 12 laps.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so
it's
12 laps for this race.
With the cloudy conditions, we will have slightly lower temperatures on the track now, so tyre temperatures on average will be slightly cooler from what we saw in the feature race, and that's going to add an extra bit of difficulty for everybody today.
Oh, by the way, something worth noting, are your tires worn? Because I don't know what your tire strategy was during the
yes, they are. I'm on 6-7%.
Yeah, I think you did it like 2 laps before spinning again. So
is that bad?
Well, I think I did 13 laps in the feature race, but there was a safety car involved. So yeah, I think I'm going to be slowing these guys down a bit because everybody behind is forming quite a bit gap here.
We don't have Bailey with us in this race by the look of it. He is being controlled by AI currently. Everybody seems to be making their way around cleanly now. Quite a fast formation lap it feels like at the back here.
Yeah, I think I might be running a bit quicker than I should be, but that's, you know, just the adrenaline. I am going a bit slower ever since I noticed that, but I think a quick formation lap might not be too bad here because we do want to get some temperature into these tires and it's as cloudy as it is. So
especially with the temperature being lower, yep, definitely. So it looks like everybody's on softs, as we would expect.
Yeah, it sure looks like it.
So we round our way around these last few corners here, the twisty last section of Singapore.
Okay, so we do have Joel and McHenry in P2 and 3 chasing for the race lead right from the race start, and then Larson and Pemi behind. And behind them we have the podium positions from the feature race. which would make for quite the interesting race, I'd assume. We'll see that soon, I guess.
Everybody making their way now to the grid markers. And we prepare to go for the sprint. This will be the third to last time we see a race start in F2 this season.
And it might be the only one we are seeing from a cockpit view.
So lights are coming on now. Got 4 lights, 5 lights. The revs are building. Lights are out. Everybody's away.
And it looks like McKenna got a really good start. Not a very good start from Joel in P2, so Joel not really able to challenge for the race lead here. McKenna, though, challenging for P1 here, right from the race start. He did close the door slightly there, so McKenna not able to take the position, and Joel actually going back into P2. Looking like quite some fighting here behind the first place, who is pulling away from the pack by a few tenths. But behind that, Larson and Tammy keeping P4 and 5 for now, so not a lot of position changes at the start actually. So McKenna had a very good race start, but behind that, yeah, some very close fighting.
Going 3 wide into this third corner here. Futuristic sending it down the inside of Danny now. Danny's still holding on to the position though. He's going to have the inside line for the next corner after it. Pushes Futuristic wide. Is he going to make that stick? He does indeed. Futuristic slotting in behind.
And Joel here, very much challenging for the race lead now, with Eversnakes making some small mistakes here, just wobbling a bit too much on track, and Joel should be able to take advantage of some of the mistakes soon to take the race lead for now. But McKenna behind is also looking to take advantage of any mistakes that Joel might make while overtaken here. Of course, running behind a slower driver can be very dangerous for you. If you have to slow down at the wrong place, it might give a chance to the driver behind to overtake you instead. And that's exactly what we're seeing happen here. McKenna is looking towards the inside of Joel here, and because... Oh, and the race leader is spinning! Ah, there's some slight contact with Joel! Oh no, Joel has lost a lot of time from that, and Joel has lost positions as well. I think it's Joel down into P3 now. Pretorius just about not able to get past Eversex, who has just spun from the race lead. So yeah, very, very heartbreaking there for Joel, who was just challenging for the race lead, and a lot of oversteer actually for, lot of understeer actually for oversteer. Wait, I'm very confused now, but Pretorius is definitely trying to overtake me.
Brief yellow flag there, but everybody back underway again now. The green flag's back out. There is a move going on at the back of the grid now. As I try and send it gingerly down the inside of Darrow, careful not to take him out. Darrow manages to defend very well though. And we go. Futuristic's had an incident. He's slow coming out of the first corner. He must have had a spin or gone wide as he's gone around there. These cooler temperatures taking a few people by surprise then, it seems.
By the way, Icewind has managed to get a lot of positions at the race start, but Pretorius is being challenged by Zaken now because he's not able to get past this slow car who started on pole, but has had a few problems keeping the positions for now. And it does seem like Pretorius has the chance to take the position now. He's on the inside line here. Zaken trying to follow Pretorius on the inside line, but not quite able to, and he's side by side with Eversnax. Oh, this is very scary. Somebody help me, please. He sends it down the inside. I'm just gonna go very careful here. Don't want to be... Okay, I think I wasn't be... I was really left a lot of space there.
Oh, and Eversnax is around.
Well... Alright, but we did see a very interesting race start there. A very close battle for the lead. And for the top few positions. So
yeah, looking at the mini-map, there's a lot of guys right on top of each other. So
yeah, I think that's because I held...
third, fourth, and fifth.
I think that's because I held everybody up. And also Joel did lose a lot of positions at the start. Well, no.
Oh, and there's another yellow flag up ahead. Who was that now? It looks like it's been sorted out now. It must have just been a slight bit of tyre banging, maybe it was contact with the wall. It'd be interesting to see if anybody's got damage from that. Speaking of damage, do you have any?
I don't actually. I've spun 3 times, I think, and I don't have any damage from it. So, yeah, as you said, these F2 cars are actually quite sturdy.
Makenda sets the fastest lap then, so we've got Makenda and Icewind leading the pack.
Yeah, I'm just now driving through Bailey Thompson, so now heading towards the back of the pack again, but the race leaders have been released from... Oh, actually, Icewind has gone into 2nd place now. So, yeah, Joel is probably gonna be fuming.
Oh, and Darrow spun around on the first corner. It looks like he just got a little bit too much throttle coming out of the exit there.
Well, I've just done the same thing, so I really can't talk about that, but I've gone past Darrow now. For now, at least.
yeah, tricky conditions in this sprint race. Only 12 laps in this race, of course. We're on lap 3 now. DRS has just been enabled, of course, as well.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing Pemi and Larson fighting for position still. They're very able to keep their positions there in the pack, not really being overtaken by anyone. So yeah, props to them for keeping their positions for now. And it's gonna be Joel and Pretorius suffering from that because they're not quite able to overtake. Just as Aiken is, I think, around P5 or 6 right now.
Just on a personal note, I really do love seeing the little lick of flame coming out the back of the cars when they're downshifting into the corners, and I also really like the turbo flutter that you hear now and again.
Okay, I think I'm gonna switch my brake balance a bit more because this is awful. I think once you get some more wear on the rear tires than on the fronts, it's really easy to just keep making the same spinny moves, and especially the locking up the rears as well.
Amazing how much more understeer you get though, just by knocking the brake balance up a little bit too far. It's difficult to find that perfect sweet point. McKender's setting another fastest lap there.
Yeah, I think that might actually be part of what makes these F2 races so interesting, because it's a bit tougher, I'd say, to get the right setup, because you're not as used to these cars and not as used to making setups for them. Yep. So that's a bit of an equalizer here in F2, I'd say. Right, so the race has been settling down a bit now. There's still some really close running down from P3 all the way to, I think it's P9 ahead of you.
It is indeed, yep. We've got Futuristics is currently in P9. Joel is sat in P8 as we speak. Looks like McKender Icewind still managing to pull a gap to the rest of the grid then. There's a bit of a gap between them as well. And I guess that would be Pemi that's currently in 3rd position, and there's Zykin in 4th, I think. And then I believe it'll be Pretorius somewhere in the mix there.
Right, so Pretorius should be around P5, I'd say, right now.
I think so,
he's
like
probably fighting for position with Azek, and both of those guys are trying to get a bit further out ahead. They're trying to chase after both of the BWT Race Labs cars.
Wouldn't it be great if we could have a full timing tower as an option?
It would be quite useful, but probably only in very specific cases, like when you're trying to commentate while also racing in the car. Talking about commentators, there's one of them right ahead of me.
Oh no!
So let's see if we can see some nice overtaking action on stream.
Let's hope we can see maybe a bit of strong defending action instead. Of course, teammates for this race today here, but. I think it would be a bit boring if we allowed team orders, wouldn't it?
It would be. I'd have to agree, and I don't think we're collecting points for the team championship,
no.
Constructors Championship anyway, so yeah, it does not really make a big difference here. And it's a 154.8 on that lap.
This very tricky first corner once again then. I seem to be struggling the most on this one. Every other corner seems not too bad. It has tightened up a little bit now, so tyres should be getting a bit stickier.
I have been very confused about you saying you're struggling in turn 1, but I now see that you don't actually mean turn 1 but turn 3.
Yes, yeah.
Which is also where I've been struggling.
The first sort of section, it's that whole kind of complex. I find it very, very tricky. Just how understeer these cars are.
That's true, yeah. It's really hard to get a good run through the first 2 corners, and then in the third one it's really easy to get too much wheel spin, too much oversteer, and actually spin as we've seen before in the race.
The gap currently 1.4 between us. It'd be interesting to see if you can close that by the time we get to the DRS straight. I suspect you might, because I'm making a right hash of these corners.
Talking about the front guys for a second, though, I don't think I'll be able to make it. Oh yeah, I've lost the traction completely.
Oh, and there's the yellow
flag. There's a yellow flag. That's Danny.
That's Danny. Danny's
yeah.
on the incident. So and it looks like there's a wheel in the middle of the track, so could that be a DNF? He is in the wall there, he's still moving.
Yeah, and he's moving right behind us now, so we've both gone past for now. What I was just trying to say before something happened there we do have the two BWT cars out in front now, almost fighting each other. So Icewind catching up to Mekender there, and we also have Zaken up to P3 now.
We make our way around this final corner here.
And Pemi is
onto the
pitting, so
straight.
I think there might have been contact between Pemi and Danny. So Pemi probably changing a wing here.
Which is great for us now, up to 8th and 9th now, so right in the middle of the pack here.
That's actually going to give one of us a point, possibly. Unless, of course, Danny is able to catch up to us again.
Which
Oh, he does have 15.
highly possible.
He does have 15 seconds of penalties again.
Ah, okay.
And he does retire as well, so...
Well, possible points on the card here then. Joel just up ahead now, 3-second time penalty for him. We've got Futuristic just ahead of him. Looks like there's about a 2-second gap between the two of them.
I do have to say, the dirty air on these cars is a lot worse than I was expecting. I thought it would be a lot less of a difference than in the F1 cars, but I'm really struggling to take these corners currently.
Everything just seems so much more visceral, I guess, in these cars. A lot more mechanical, harder. Everything's a lot more brute force, it seems, than in the F1 cars. There's a lot less finesse somehow when you're driving these. Either that or it's because we're completely novices to this, but...
But I think it is interesting to see how the cars actually drive after you've been commentating them for a while. So now we actually know how the drivers would be feeling about things happening on track, and if somebody's caught in the dirty air of somebody else, then how are you so quick on the straight?
I'm not sure. I did rack my traction control up to full just to make sure I don't make a mockery of myself any more than I already have in the first race.
I can recommend medium traction control on these cars. It's actually feeling quite nice. Of course, getting a bit of wheel spin sometimes, but that's fine. And as I say that, I almost spin. Having to correct a bit there.
A bit of a tap on the wall there is how it looked to me there. But,
no, not quite. I'm still looking healthy.
No damage, I hope.
Did something just change ahead of us? Did Joel just lose a position?
Yes, Joel's dropped down. He also has a 6-second penalty now applied to him. Futuristic up to 3 seconds. So there's a change of position there.
Yeah, so we're both really understeering through that first turn. Oh!
Oh no!
Yeah, I'll be back in about 2 laps. Pretorius has lost the connection! Oh wait, I'll invite him.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, I can...
Well, you're ahead, you should have, but...
in fact, wait, yeah, well, I can't do it.
I've already done it now.
Yeah, good.
And I'm back into the car. Alright.
Your AI's done a fantastic job of catching up again. Either that or I've done a horrendous job of getting away.
Oh yeah, I remember, I'm actually really bad in these cars, so the AI would be quicker than me. Oh, and we are seeing the teammates battle out in front, so Icewind and Mekender are really close to each other now, and I think they're both losing time to the guys behind. That would be Larson, I believe, who's catching up to them, and Zaken as well. So Zaken in P3, Larson in P4, I'd assume. And Pretorius actually has lost a lot of time as well. There might have been some kind of incident there.
Yep, so that's the front four then of bunching up with one another once again now, after having broken away early on as well. So tyres may be starting to slowly fall off now.
Yeah, I think the tyres are starting to slowly see some wear. Maybe not a lot of it, but definitely noticeable.
And we're going to see, I think there's a position change up ahead there. My timing tower hasn't updated it, but it looks like Futuristic's got ahead of... Someone's in the pit, that's Joel, right, so Joel is pitted. Pretorius looks like he's lost a position to Futuristic. Looking at the minimap, the timing board hasn't updated that yet. While I'm doing that, Eversnax is immediately behind me now. There's a 0.4 second gap between us. As we both pass Joel on the start-finish straight. Joel coming out now on the super soft, so would expect him to get involved in this fight very, very soon.
That said, it is
terrifying.
only 5 laps for us now. So, oh, I was just trying to enable overtake, but I don't think that's happening.
Oh,
thank you for leaving the door open.
There, possibly.
Yeah, I think that was just you using the full traction control there. Otherwise, I think there might have been an opportunity for me, and I'm taking the outside line this time.
Careful not to understeer into you now, but
Yeah, just gonna go a bit wider.
Fairly cleanly there.
Just making
Slightly.
sure to not touch here. That would be quite embarrassing for both of the commentators to crash out in the same corner.
Come down this. This is a lovely straight. This I quite enjoy this bit.
We do
You get a
have-
good run out the last corner.
We do have Daro giving up on the race now. He's retired in the pits.
Ah, okay, so an unfortunate afternoon for him then. Joel,
Overtake here. I'm taking the outside line.
I'm gonna
And
squeeze
you're
you
gonna-
into that wall. Oh, and
I
I'm
don't. I think you're gonna steer yourself into the wall because I'm now ahead and into P6 for whatever's next. So I wish you a lot of fun with Joel now. He's gonna be on your back soon, but
I'm gonna try and stay behind you now, see if I can get some kind of a tow. There is a skill difference between us, unfortunately, so I fully expect you to pull away now over the next few laps.
I do think that I'm feeling a bit more confident in these F2 cars right now. Because the skill difference between us isn't quite as big as the time difference might make it seem. And you do absolutely destroy me in the Nana race, so... Right,
Well, that's the
so
other thing, it does actually feel strange driving
Oh.
with assist, because there is a difference in how the car behaves.
I now know why Pretorius has lost so much time. It's because his AI has been driving for a bit of the race there.
Ah, of course, yeah, that makes sense.
And out in front we still have the 4 guys fighting, but one of the BWT is actually pulling away a slight bit from the other now. So possibly Icewind has been able to make the overtake on McKender. I'm not sure, because they have the same color.
Time.
Yeah, Pemi has
Finding
lost a
ninth
bit of time
position.
there. Oh, yeah, Pemi. I think Pemi had some contact with who was it? Danny, possibly. I think
Okay.
Pemi pitted after the lap where we saw Danny go around. Right, so
Joel is slowly reeling us in. He hasn't got many laps left to do this, but I think it might just be possible. We are just about slow enough for him to catch us.
oh, I've seen this happen in the feature race. Joel is definitely going to catch us in about 2 laps, less than that probably.
He's already 1.5 seconds behind me and staring down. In fact, 1.2 seconds behind me. He got an
Yeah,
amazing
exactly.
round from the corner.
Yeah, that's the thing. These guys really know how to get a good run out of the corners with these cars. They're very much used to how the cars handle and how much you can push them out of the corners.
There's only 3 laps remaining now, of course.
Yeah, and Joel did catch you in about the worst section of the track that he could have. These 90-degree turns aren't very good for overtaking, but then he's going to have a chance on the start-finish straight, I'd assume. Oh, as I almost spin. Which is, of course, the alert.
Oh, and Joel
sometimes.
sending it down the inside
Oh.
on the second to last corner there and making the move stick before we even get onto the start-finish straight. That came from out of nowhere.
The thing is, I actually considered
Unbelievable
doing that.
pass
I actually considered doing that in one of the laps. You were running very wide through that turn, so I was like, okay, maybe I can get past. But no, we're starting to see some wear on the tires. I think it's also starting to hit the other drivers. They're gonna have to be a bit more careful now. These softs, they do go 10 laps probably easily if you're a good driver and used to these cars, and you know, just taking good care of your rear tires. But after that, it gets a bit harder. Oh,
Like the fight at the front is starting to hot up quite a bit now then. You've got the 2 BWT drivers close right up, and Zyken is right there in the mix in 3rd position trying to make something happen.
yeah, Zaken definitely pushing now, trying to get those positions. He knows he doesn't have a lot of time to make the moves, so he's going to try to make them very soon.
We're all over the back of you now as we head into this DRS straight. He does have a
Yeah.
6-second climb penalty, of course, which you do not. So the question is, can he make 6 seconds on you in 2 laps?
I think it was the same situation with McKendra in the previous race, but he had 3 laps to make it happen. So it might just be enough for me to hang on to the back of Joel here now for 2 laps of 3 seconds each, as he does take the position.
Close it down the inside there. Looks like a very clean pass up on both of you.
Yes, absolutely. He was able to just outbrake me by a bit, and he took the position quite easily. But no hard feelings, Joel.
Just to show you what a difference it makes between a good driver and a sort of, let's say, slower driver such as myself. I am actually currently running Joel's setup. He gave me it just before this race, so I'm going to assume he's running his setup as well.
Yeah, meanwhile I'm running
see,
Pretorius' setup, who's also quite a bit faster than me, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, there's about a 3-second time difference per lap, I'd say.
But it's interesting to see what a difference there is between sort of, I guess, the guys that are doing this week in, week out, and the likes of us who never really touch these cars unless we really have to.
Also, I'm now really struggling, and I think Joel might just be able to pull away far enough by the end of the race.
Yep.
My tires are really not happy about my driving style, which is to be expected if you're not used to the cars, but yeah, Joel definitely managing his race a lot better currently.
I find the front right tyre seems to get an incredible amount of wear on this track.
Does it?
Yep, I'm on 53% on my front right compared to 47, which is the next most worn tyre, so almost, well, what's that now? It's like a 6% difference between them.
Oh, I'd have to agree, but at the same time my rear right is at 58, so I think you're just kind of cheating with traction control currently.
Is puncture range still the same percentage then? 75%, and then you're risking a puncture, is that right?
I don't know, but I'd assume so. Otherwise I should be getting very scared soon.
Yep. So, penultimate lap then, we are of course on lap 11 out of 12 now.
Here you see some wonderful acrobatic demonstrations here from me trying to catch the car as good as I can. But yes, keep on.
I think Singapore drift.
Singapore drift indeed. Out in front, really not that much changing, as Aiken has lost a bit of time again. I think there should be about a second of a gap there. Back to Aiken, but the two BWTs are still fighting for the position. They're very close to each other. Oh, as we're now seeing the fastest lap.
Yeah, wow.
I think I did give him DRS assistance for part of that lap still. Not exactly sure. No, I didn't actually. He's just pushing. He's just fast. Also the only one of the top runners going for the super softs, of course, so that would explain him getting the fastest lap here.
We are now on the final lap. Looks like there's a bit of fight between the two teammates there, the two BWT drivers there at the front of the grid.
Yeah, and we should be seeing the race result pretty soon. As soon as one of them crosses the line, we'll see who has taken the race victory, because it's definitely not clear yet, and both of them are very close in the championship. Both of them have the chance of gaining quite a bit on Pretorius here. I think they might actually be able to take the lead in the Drivers' Championship right now, if they finish as they are right now, because Pretorius, of course, getting a bit unlucky with disconnecting during the race here.
Have of course managed to escape the rain in this race as well, which is a bit of a blessing, I think, for the likes of us.
Yeah, it's looking very dry actually, and it is McKendrew taking the race victory. So Icewind in P2, it's Zaken taking P3 after taking pole in the feature race and also finishing there in P2, and then behind them, I believe that might be Larson in P4.
I think so. I think this is Joel. Looks like he's going to go for a move here on the very last corner. Is he going to make it stick? It looks like he's just made it. What's that for position? That was so close.
I'm actually not sure what's happening there, because Pretorius' car must also still be somewhere in the mix. There seems to be something happening. I'm not exactly sure what, but we'll see that very soon. As I am now coming to the finish of the race. On 65% wear on the rear tire. I see you're still almost fighting Pemi there. Pemi definitely catching up a lot on this.
Pemi will get the jump on me, of course. I did have the 3-second penalty there, so he will inherit, I think that was 8th position, in fact, since I dropped down to 9th.
Looking at the chat real quick, I am only seeing their hammer say, "And Eversnack spins!" from the race seat. Well, it does happen. It does happen. It happens to the best. We've actually seen that quite a few times. A surprising amount of times we've seen the driver in the lead spin out. So yeah, I'm not the only one here. So,
yeah. Who do we give driver of the day to then? How do we score this? It had an amazing race in the first race there, but did lose out quite a bit in the sprint race, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's really a shame.
Very consistent race.
It's a shame that Pretorius disconnected in the second race there. He lost so much time and so many positions because of that. I think he could have made something happen during the race as well.
Icewind as well, of course. I mean, very consistent drive there.
I do think that Azaken has really shown some good pace by taking the pole position, keeping everybody behind for a while at the race start in the feature race, but then still taking P2 at the end, and none other than Pretorius, the championship leader, ahead of him. And also a very solid race in the second one, making up quite some positions, hanging on to the back of Icewind, just not making any big mistakes in the big battle group that we saw form during the sprint race here. Yeah, overall very solid race, I'd say.
I think so, yeah, definitely. So
Alright,
it'd be interesting to hear then if there was any team orders between the two BWT drivers today. Then they did look like they were quite racy today with one another.
We are going to be moving on to the interviews now, and we're going to need a lot of information from the other drivers today, because of course we weren't able to see the full grid all of the time. So yeah, should be interesting to hear about what happened out in front. So if you would like to join us for an interview, please do hop into the interviews channel.
Who do we have here ready to go then? A fair bit of confusion in the SLR Discord today with the commentary and driving at the same time.
there have been a few confused drivers who aren't exactly sure what we've been doing, what we've been up to. But I think it actually worked out surprisingly well. Of course, we didn't see a lot of the battles out in front. Safe, of course, for the guys that were overtaking us, but still caught a bit of the action, I'd say. I hope everybody.
Let us know in chat what you thought of that. I feel like it maybe gave a bit of an alternative perspective and a fresh kind of view as to what the drivers are having to deal with the entire time in these races. I mean, you never get to see much in depth, as it were, in depth kind of racing and the sort of technical stuff behind it when you're just seeing it from our commentary viewpoints all the time. So yeah, it'd be interesting to know how what people thought of today's stream.
Yeah, so everybody who's in chat currently, please leave a message saying, do this every time now, and we'll see what we can do about it. And we do have Futuristic waiting for an interview now, so I think we might pull him in.
Yes, let's do that then. Hello, Futuristic. Welcome to the commentary booth.
Hello.
I'll start with the obvious question. How was your race today? Because we saw you, well, you were actually midfield for bits of it, and it looked like actually in the sprint race you were quite far up at the front. But other than that, I don't have a huge amount of information on exactly how your race went.
Yeah, I mean, there was some guy in a Trident who was...
Oh, God.
I'm not going to say who it was, but I'm going to make it obvious in the next sentence. It was my singing partner who lost it on the braking, and luckily I didn't have any damage, but he was somewhat in the way, but
possible report there then.
Yeah, I think one of the two of us might have braked a bit too hard there and just spun out a bit, but
it's racing, so I'm not mad at that. But there were some incidents, but yeah, it's a part of racing, I guess. So it was some up and downs.
So yeah, no, a busy couple of races there. Did you have any major battles or anything with anyone at all up at the front? Obviously, other than the Eversnacks incident.
Well, not quite. I mean, I had zero rear end grip at the end of the stints, and so it was super hard to keep up with the guy in front because I was losing 2 3/10 every corner exit, so I had some problems keeping up with them. But so it was a mediocre race, I would say.
Yeah, bit of a mixed bag of experiences then for you. We're on to USA, I believe it is. So we're in Kota for the final race of the season next week. Are you looking forward to that one?
According to the information the driver has been given, No, because F2 stuff. Get a job, please. There's no use of full qualifying in F2. It's just a waste of time, and especially with 100% races, it's gonna take like 3.5 hours to make that race. So, no.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's gonna happen with that, if we're gonna stick with that or not. There was quite a few drivers that were echoing that kind of feedback the last time. I think it was in Monaco when we trialed that, the full qualifying. So yeah, we'll let the SLR gods determine that one. See if we're gonna go ahead with full quali or not. But
I hope you hear this, Joel.
track itself, obviously a bit of a mix of sort of famous corners from various tracks all over the world, and yeah, a bit of a Marmite track, I guess, for some guys. But yeah, no, looked like say a fairly mixed race for you today. But yeah, we'll hopefully see you in the next race then, and I'll move you back to the interview channel.
Yeah, most likely. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for talking to us. Okay, so we have Joel and Icewind.
I do want to grab Joel next.
Yeah, okay, we'll pull him in next then, see what he has to say.
Oh, okay.
Hello,
Right.
Joel. I think I've just pulled you in mid-sentence there, so apologies for that. But welcome to the commentary booth.
Because I was talking to Icewind and I heard the Discord move sound, and it was actually Futuristic coming back in. So I thought I was still talking whilst I was in an interview, and then I realised I wasn't, and then I started talking again, and then he dragged me in. Anyway.
So Joel, let's get the big one out of the way first. I'm very sorry about spinning in front of you. I think I think you did lose.
Side.
Yeah, I saw that happen. You went to the outside, and then of course that was what let McKender past you there. I think that lost you a bit of time there.
I got a bad start as well. I was hoping to get you in turn one and then build a gap on McKender, but
yeah, I was actually quite surprised that my start was pretty okay, but McKender was the one who really got the good start off the line.
I managed to put it up the inside of McKender to keep him behind you as well. So
yeah, I'm very thankful for that. That was.
And then I didn't really need to pit, but I thought I would, because I'll get faster lap and probably get my position back as well, and it might be a bit of fun for the stream as well. So.
I think both of us. I think both of us had quite some fun being chased down and then easily, well, let's say dismissed.
Well, I had the 6 seconds. I didn't even think I even had the 6 seconds going on to the final lap, and then I got another penalty, so I had 9.
Oh, you did? I didn't even see that.
Ah, right.
So I managed to pull out like 3.5 on the final lap.
It did look like there was a bit of a photo finish on the. Okay, admittedly now I realise why the standings didn't change. I'm completely forgetting about your penalties there, but yeah, it looked like there was a bit of a photo finish and a very last-minute dive into the final corner on the last race there. It looked incredibly good.
What, the final corner of?
Yeah, I don't know who it was.
Race.
I'm gonna guess it was it?
No, I was near no one. I was near absolutely no one. The gap
I think
was 20 seconds.
I think that might be Pretorius's. I think that might be Pretorius's car.
He's had real problems for the whole race, so.
Oh no, that's unfortunate. He was one of the front runners of the championship, of course, as well. So,
yeah, both losing a lot of points in the constructors today as well.
Yeah.
So I think we're both going to need like a 1-2 in both races next week if we want to win that. It's going to be a exciting championship finale as well.
Speaking of which, in Colta, of course, in the USA, are you
yes,
looking forward to that track?
It's
a bit of a Marmite track, that one. A lot of guys liking it, a lot of guys disliking it.
I like it in F1. I've never done it in F2 before.
Yeah.
But it's the short version. So
okay.
I think Futuristic was imagining it's the full version, which would take too long, but it's a short one. I don't know. I would still have to test how long the 100% is actually going to last. But I think if we're getting less than 12 drivers, then we're not doing it, because there's no point. We're just doing a normal one.
I would imagine we may have. Pretorius made a good point earlier on in the SLR Discord that we may have a slightly bigger turnout next week, because of course there is no more official racing going on in the tiers now for the rest of the season, other than F2. So next week, the only race that's going to be happening, the only official race, it's going to be happening with SLR is the F2 race. So we may see some drivers deciding to give that a shot, perhaps for the final race of the season there.
Yeah, and in terms of next season, we're still discussing it, but we might change around at what time we do the season to get the attendance up more, which is probably going to be first, like as soon as the game's released, start it with the normal tiers.
Yeah.
Because people will want to drive it just because it's on the new game, and then when the 2021 cars for F2 come out mid-game cycle, then we can do a second season. I think that'll be better attendance, but we're still discussing that, so don't take my word for it yet.
Okay, so it'll be interesting to see what's decided with that then, and yeah, we'll look forward to the outcome of that decision. But yeah, I will move you back to the interview channel then. Thanks very much for coming and having a chat to us, and yeah, we'll see you next week for Kota.
Bye.
Okay, so that just leaves Icewind then. We'll pull him in and find out how his race went today. So, welcome Icewind to the commentary booth. I think I've cut you off mid-sentence there as well. We did the exact same with Joel a second ago. Yeah, we didn't see much of your race, unfortunately, because you are considerably faster than we are. But certainly on the mini-map, looked like you're having quite some close battles with the likes of Pretorius and Joel in the first race. And then in the sprint race, looked like you were very close with Mikender. So any team orders at all, or was that just free racing?
Yeah, first of all, the sprint race. We kind of sort of ended up in 1-2 earlier in the race because there were a few incidents that we managed to avoid, and then we were in 1-2, and then we just sort of I picked up 3 seconds pretty early on in the race, and I had to try and push, and it looked like I had a little bit more pace than Mikender at that point in the race, so he let me through, and we kind of agreed that if there's a chance to let him through again at the end of the sprint race, I will do that, and I did it because we agreed to do so. So that was definitely just team play once again there. Yeah, so sprint race, very happy. Then in the feature race, we decided to split the strategy. So Mikender started on the harder tires, and I started on the softs. That definitely worked better there because of that safety car. So I basically got a free pit stop, and I was kind of I thought I was looking good for P2, but Azaken was super fast, and I managed to hold him off a few laps, but then after we went side by side for like 5 corners or something, he managed to get me in the end, and yeah, he was just too fast for me today in the feature race especially. So yeah, very well done to him, definitely. So a very impressive pace from him. And yeah, but P3, P2, I'm happy with those. Good points for the team. Unfortunately, Pretorius once again had some connection issues, and that's kind of not the way that we, of course, want to gain points on Joel and him. But yeah, I think the cliche is that it's racing or sim racing or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things, isn't it? I guess it's the equivalent of having an engine blow up in real life, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's the hardware issues that you might have when you're racing online. It's just a part of it, sadly. As you say, unfortunate for him as well, of course, and yeah, it makes their job so much harder when we move on to the USA next week.
Yep, definitely.
So yeah, what do you think of the track at the USA next week then? Joel was informing us there previously we're actually going to be on the short layout of the track.
Yeah, we're apparently going on the short layout, and I don't think I've ever driven it, so I don't actually know how does it go. But I've been informed that like you go like left in the middle of the S's or something like that, and then sort of take a shortcut to the back straight. But yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a surprise for me, I guess, how to drive that. So yeah, I think I will have to do more than my usual 3 or 5 laps of practice for that, maybe 10. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna really approach that race any different than I've done the previous ones. I'll do a few laps, get know the layout. Gotta of course pick up the braking points that I don't know, and yeah, we'll do the best we can as a team once again.
Yeah.
So
if that's where the I guess the cross point is on the short layout where you're jumping from the S's onto the back straight, I guess that means we're only going to have the one DRS straight then across the start-finish line. So that
Yeah, I guess so.
changed tactics a little bit with some drivers, perhaps. Then, I mean, I know on some tracks where you got 2 DRS straights, you can kind of allow a faster car to pass you on one DRS straight, knowing that you're then going to have DRS on the following straight to be able to get them back. And a lot of the time we see strategy being played out that way in the final lap. So yeah, I guess we'll see a little difference in that perhaps next week then.
Yeah, and then like I'm kind of scared of how the F2 car is to drive in the last section of the track, but yeah, we'll find out next week, I guess. So it's gonna be something different, yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to that one at all.
Yeah, I mean it's basically the season finale of F1 2020 at SLR, so I suppose that's something to look forward to, and I sort of encourage drivers from other tiers to also take part in the race, so we get the numbers up for that race. It's sort of the send off for F1 2020. I mean, we might have some events coming up in the break or whatever, but it's the last official race, I would say, of the tiers. So yeah, in that sense at least, and then yeah, looking forward to see how that goes as well. So.
Definitely. Okay, well, I will move you back to the interview channel then. Thanks very much for coming and speaking to us.
Yeah, I hope you guys had fun on track as well.
Oh yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
It was hard work.
You got a point as well, didn't you? Boosted. I saw you as a.
No, I lost out. I lost out.
Hey, hold on! I got a lot of points.
yeah, you did actually, but did you have a penalty or something? Cause I
had a second time penalty, so Pemi got me just at the very end there. He just had I think there was maybe a 1 second gap between us as we crossed the line at the end. So yeah, no, hats off to him. He had a really good race.
All right. Yeah, but good job, guys. It's nice to see you guys on track as well for once. So. Sort of the same thing. Bailey raced in Tier 2. He's been doing commentary for that all season, and he raced yesterday in Tier 2. So sort of the same for you guys today. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see and experience what you guys see and experience in a race day as well. And it kind of, I said it in the stream, kind of adds a different, an alternative, I suppose, viewpoint for the viewers to see kind of the more in-depth stuff of what goes on when the drivers themselves are having to drive and what they're having to deal with in a race as well, rather than just seeing it from the outside all the time.
Yeah, indeed.
Hopefully it was entertaining, but yeah. No,
yeah, I'll have to look, check it back, but yeah, I'm sure it was.
Cool. So yeah, thanks very much for talking to us, and yeah, we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so that rounds it out then for the interviews today. Yeah, an interesting experience.
That was definitely a bit of fun there, and I think in the future we might be able to understand the F2 driving strategies and stuff just that bit more after experiencing it for ourselves. Was fun to fight with some of these guys on track as well, and just seeing how fast some of these guys are compared to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I sure hope it was fun to watch on stream as well. I think we did a pretty good job of keeping everybody entertained.
Yeah, I feel like it's very difficult. I didn't think it would be that difficult to focus on what's happening on the race and focus on what you're doing as well, but somehow managed to struggle our way through it.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you did enjoy this, maybe let us know, and we might be able to do something similar again. Maybe not in the next race. We'll throw in some normal commentary. But
they have a full grid, and yeah, it'd be good to get a full grid and some
absolutely, yeah,
normal commentary for the final race. So final race of SLR, or final official race of SLR, as Icewind was saying there. So very much looking forward to that one. It'll be the send off of F1 2020 for us. We'll then have a bit of a break before we move on to the new F1 2021 game, which we're all very excited about. And yeah, we'll maybe have a few special events in between. Whether or not they'll be streamed, I'm not sure, but we'll do what we can to update everybody as we go.
Yeah, and for now, we do still have a championship battle going into the last race. In the constructors, it's looking a bit tough for the Dams team now, because they've lost a lot of points today due to all kinds of issues. But the Drivers' Championship is also still pretty close, I think. So there's still a chance for stuff to happen in the USA. As we've said before, we're on the short track next week, same time at 20:45. That's Central European time. So do join us again if you feel like it for some normal commentary. And I really hope you specifically enjoyed this stream today, because it was a lot of fun. At least I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too. It was definitely something different and yeah, a challenge.
All right.
So, yeah, hope to see you all next week, and yeah, have a good evening.
Okay, thank you for watching, and goodbye.